Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course from New Earth One Network. This is designed exclusively for your higher self connection and embodiment. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here in the now, in this eternal moment of now, centered in our hearts as we meet Danielle Rama Hoffman. Literally, it was her book that jumped off the shelf at me when I first was introduced to the beautiful divine teachings that she brings forth. Danielle works with the Egyptian master Thoth, who is a guide for so many as we truly develop this legacy gift that we are here to offer. Danielle, hello. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi everyone. I'm just feeling all these bubbles of joy and effervescence. So it's a fun field that is being co-created here.
We love that effervescence. We can feel it too. Let's start with you sharing a little bit about this time on our planet Earth. The energies are wild. And so, what would you say is the most important thing that we could each do for ourselves right now on this journey?
Listen within and have that discernment, the multi-dimensional abundance, and to be paying attention to all the dimensions that really matter the most to us, including our loved ones and that joy and that pleasure, in addition to our mission and all that it is that we're up to. So that's really what I'm finding just so key, is to have that well-rounded, multidimensional abundance where we're deciding also what really matters most to us and having that be a priority. So I'm seeing that as well, that it's kind of like a reorganization within individual systems. Like we may have been super focused on one area of our lives, and now there's this invitation to follow the energy and pivot into uncharted areas, or those that we may not have developed as much. So love, multi-dimensional abundance, and really listening within and having that discernment.
I love that there is multi-dimensional abundance that we have to pay attention to. And it begins with the joy, as you mentioned, following that which brings us joy and the ones that we love the most. When you said reorganizing things now, that seems to be a theme of the year. It really does. It seems like the word flexibility is the operative word. And so to follow the energy in each moment, can you share about following the energy? What does that mean exactly?
Mm, wow. it's kind of like breathing for me. So sometimes it's how to describe it. Well, this context of the now show and really being in the present moment of each now moment, that there is like this thread of energy or this treasure hunt that we're on, where there's an energy that and not just following any energy, because there can be a lot of distracting energies as well. But when I mean follow the energy, I really mean following that thread, or that most aligned path, and then being aware and seeing the synchronicities, those messages, those themes that may show up in numbers or colors, or hearing the same word, or being introduced to the same individual in three different ways, so that there is like these breadcrumbs in the now moment that energetically we can follow the energy. And on more of a physical plane level, that can also be a shift in consciousness from really planning and having the whole day, back to your point of flexibility, having the whole day so programmed that there isn't any space to follow the energy. So I love to contribute as much as I can in each now moment. And so I do have a plan and a structure, and kind of, some of that old school ways of being, or what are my top 3 things I'm going to get done today. And then at the same time, it's like I follow the energy. So I may have something on there, and then the energy says, up, go spend time with the horses, or call your mom, or whatever those kinds of things are. So it's subtle, and at the same time really more and more important from my perspective to follow the energy. And that's where so much magic happens. I think a lot of us have the habit, when we're on vacation, for example, we're more open to seeing, well, wow, what's this flyer that I saw, or so it's kind of also that vacation mind, almost, of being present and really aware, because there's opportunities all the time. And yet if we're so hyper focused and over scheduled and planned, then those opportunities get just missed.
Yes, we're not going to miss those opportunities. Again, that is where the magic happens. And the vacation mind is also a relaxed mind as well. And so it's beautiful to be in this now moment in that relaxed state. In our creativity, we're going to talk today about how you can download your book from source. This is for anyone who's wanted to answer the call in their heart in a certain way, would you say?
Yes, and that for those of you that are here, that can also be a synchronicity, because there may be that sense of like, well, I'm here and I was called to be here, and then, oh, I may not have thought about a book, and yet there may be on that higher self plane a divine invitation, hyphen assignment, that we always have the choice to say yes or no to, yet that this subject is coming forward, and what we're going to speak about can also really be beneficial for any creative project, and our life is a creative project. So we're speaking about a book because it's a beautiful way to get your message out, and at the same time, much of what we're speaking about here can apply to creating a course, or any creative project, really, in business, relationships. So a lot of the same, I love that kind of fractal coherence, or a line on the hologram. So just like a tree that has a branch that the patterns repeat, that's the same with this, what we're speaking about. The same tools to download your legacy book can be applied in other areas. And yet I'd see, if you're here, that it's kind of a wink from source, that there may be a message for you to share in a broader way. So one thing that I see a lot with the idea of bringing a book into the world, like midwifing this beautiful project, is that there can be this illusion lie of having to do it all on our own and having to be good at writing or having to really also think in a logical way, or there just may be these assumptions that individuals have as they're approaching birthing a body of work and specifically a book. So, as we're starting to speak about it, I'd also invite each of you to just kind of allow those places of friction or any assumptions or any of that to come onto a beautiful altar, that as we're together, that can be brought back into the wholeness or brought back into the oneness, because there can be that fear of visibility. And I'm so passionate and just on fire, especially for healers and practitioners and light workers, to be birthing these modalities, these books that haven't existed on the Earth star thus far. And what I've come to realize from myself and all the clients that I've worked with over the 25 years now, or whatever it is in this body, is that sometimes the that we have these kind of safety mechanisms in place, especially when we carry a lot of light. So, one paradigm shift that I really find creates kind of an instant relief is that your book is a being of light, it's alive, organic, that you have your higher self, you're connected to source, you're not alone in it, and there's support in the higher planes and also in the physical plane. So that's kind of just the opening paradigm shift that I think is really important, because we may want to have a book done, and yet there's like these speed bumps or assumptions or kind of illusion lies, what Toth and the council call illusion lies. So
When you wrote your book, can you share what guidance you received? And if you had those stumbling blocks, belief systems that kept you, that you had to break through?
yeah. So I really remember my first book. I have this trilogy of light. The first book was The Temples of Light. And I remember being in Egypt and kind of getting the divine download or the invitation or the assignment from Thoth to write this book about the temples, because there was a lot of books about the gods and goddesses, but not so many about the temples. And so that was cool. I was excited about that. I loved that. And there was a whole process of writing the book, which I remember Friedemann, my beloved husband, he would come into my office sometime, and I was doing massage and energy work at the time. And so I had this massage table, and I would just be lying on the massage table. And he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm writing my book." And he's like, "No, you're not. You're sleeping." And I'm like, "No, I'm writing my book." Because I would just lie down and fall asleep. And then I would, or go into a deep meditative state. And then I would wake up and know, what that temple wanted to share. And, fast forward to when the book, I went through the whole thing of the publisher, and it was about to come out in 2009. And we actually took our first trip to France. And so we were also on the land of, the Inquisition and persecution, and the Cathars, being killed for their beliefs. And during that trip, I was just in terror of this visibility, because until that point I'd been in my office, one-on-one with clients. So all of a sudden it was going to be this global thing, and I just was like reliving these past life bleed throughs. And I remember asking Friedemann to, like, could he connect to Toth and the guides, because I was disconnected. And obviously, that was a beautiful thing and a great thing, and an opportunity to to bring that back in the wholeness. Because I know for me, the non-negotiable in this lifetime is that I share the mission that I came to share. And so I was willing and continue to be willing to go through that fear of visibility, that we all have for proof in this lifetime, and then also in past lifetimes. So I think that can be really inspirational for individuals, is, you know, that there's something to move us through that fear of visibility. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, so you were here in the land and you could sense that that was a past life where you were persecuted for speaking love and light.
Mm-hmm.
And so the non-negotiable in this lifetime, share a little bit more about, I know we're going to get to the messages, but the non-negotiable, that seems like a key value that we should each identify. And how would you suggest that we identify the non-negotiable?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I love how you shared that it's like a value, because I do see that it kind of goes back to the multidimensional abundance uh, temple or graph or grid, how that we have our own collage of what matters most to us based on our our soul, our light being self. And so for me, purpose and mission is a really high value. It's a top priority for me. And at the same time, there may be for others that like joy is a non-negotiable, that it's there's this unwillingness to move forward with purpose or having a day where there isn't joy. So it's not the same for everyone, although we do have kind of universal, as Toph and the Council of Light often say, we have a universal divine design and our unique divine design. So our universal divine design may have purpose and community and abundance and joy and health. And at the same time, there's those that rise even more to the surface. So oftentimes we can discover what our non-negotiable is by, and its duality, yet by what friction or resistance or frustration or irritation we have. That can be a signpost when we're not in alignment or sharing that non-negotiable. So it can be approached from that way, and then usually we often know. And circling back to the beginning of the conversation of how there's this reorganization as well of certain areas. So maybe mission and purpose had been what all the focus was on. And then in this year, there's like a reorganization to focus more on relationships or having the abundance of financial abundance, because our purposes need to be championed by money, by physical plane, like what you do. You have a team of a staff. I'm using the word team, like, those that work with you, but also the council, I call the team. So that's where also there can be an opening of our non-negotiable to be even more supported with the energies that it requires. So that may be where two values start to come together, where you're like me, it's non-negotiable to express my mission in this lifetime, and yet it's also got to be fun and joyous and, those kinds of things. And this is kind of what you do, so I imagine you would have a suggestion as well about how someone identifies their values and their non-negotiables.
Yes. All right. Well, we are excited to hear from the beautiful higher realm that you communicate with, your team.
Yeah, so as I'm connecting to the team, just inviting everyone to close your eyes and to imagine your face like an old-fashioned clock with an hour hand, a minute hand, a second hand, and just asking or noticing or seeing or feeling where the hands are set to. So you may see like 105 or 125, or and if you're not getting anything, that's fine too. And then just ask for the hour hand, the minute hand, the second hand to all be pointing to 12 noon or the now. Yeah, you can visualize all three hands pointing to 12 noon. And this is a quick exercise to align your subtle bodies and to come into a state of crystal clarity. Sometimes I like to have one that's at 6 o'clock so that that energy of going down and up connected to above and below is there. And that's a quick shift to get into the flow state. And here is the team. Hello, dear ones. This is Tove Sanat Kumara, Sashat, keeper of the Akashic Records, Isis, and the Rose Panel beings of light, the Magdalens, and many beings of light and love moving more to the forefront of this divine transmission. And as you have your eyes closed, we invite you to visualize the energy of infinite knowledge, the energy of wisdom, and specifically that infinite knowledge and that wisdom that you are in resonance with, you are aligned with, you are coherent with. It is a part of your particular earth star experience and divine lineage. And as you are connecting to that infinite knowledge, divine truth, wisdom, the qualities as well of me, Tov, there is a second invitation to connect to the energy of love, to the energy of Isis, to the energy of the Magdalens, the Lemurians, the dolphins, the whales. And you may visualize this light of wisdom, of infinite knowledge in a vertical way, and the love in a horizontal plane, creating like an ankh or two ley lines that cross, and just asking that your heart wisdom, your infinite knowledge and love, wisdom start to vibrate with one another. That it isn't only communication, knowledge for the sake of communication or knowledge. It is alive, enlivened, imbued, infused with the energy of love. And that there is not only the connection that you have with Source, yet also the breadth, the width of that wisdom being broadcasted on the horizontal plane, and asking your system to adjust to the energy of light and love if you choose to bring this wisdom and this truth together, the vertical and the horizontal, the feminine and the masculine. And as we are speaking about downloading your body of work, your legacy book with Source, we would invite you to breathe from the heart of above to your heart, and from your heart to the heart of above, to the heart of Source, re-nourishing and calibrating your connection to Source. And taking a few breaths as well from your heart down to the heart of below in the earth, the portal in the center of the Earth star, the new Earth star. And breathing love and appreciation from the center of the new Earth into your heart wisdom. And so you have this waterfall of love and light from above, and this fountain of love and light from below. And then taking a few breaths where on the exhale, you're exhaling from your heart, the front of your heart, the back of the heart, the sides of the heart, inhaling from above and below, and then exhaling to really fill the space around your body, to widen your connection with Source. And just basking in these energies. Good. And you can stay in this internal space, or if you would like, you can gently bring your awareness back and opening your eyes, knowing that there is this recalibration of the light and the love, the vertical and the horizontal, the feminine and the masculine. And what we would share about downloading your legacy book with Source, and Loren, you shared this at the beginning with Danielle, is that when you have this communication that's scribed, that's transmitted, that's downloaded in partnership with Source, it's alive. So a book jumping off the shelf, there's an aliveness. Reading scribed material, there can be this sense of, or as we're here, we are scribing through speaking, it's not only writing. There is this visceral experience where you may have energy moving in your hands. And so this is also one of those paradigm shifts, is that when you partner with Source to download your legacy book, your book is a being of light and love, alive, dynamic, partnering with you. And the book that's opened is new every time. It is the now moment. It is like we often hear that each individual has the experience that it is like the book has been written exactly for them. And when you reread or rewrite, then there is another dimension that's accessed. So, part of what we're speaking about is communicating in divine wholeness. Good. And as we promised as well, that we would get started right here and right now with the next step of your message of your book, we would move into that section, an exercise with that. Yet before we do, is there any additional question that you may have or unpacking of what has been brought forward?
We are absorbing that and feeling that connection to downloading the book from source. So, no questions here at the moment. Thank you.
So we're inviting you to, if, and you can have your eyes open if you want to be writing, or you can have your eyes closed. We would invite you to connect to the Akashic records, the records where all information and energy and experiences and communications are stored. And you may meet me, Toth, or Sashat, or the crow, or the whale, or another Akashic record keeper or record keepers in your section of the Akashic records that has to do with your legacy book. And if you choose, ask to open your Akashic records and to meet the being of light that is your book, that is your message, that is your mission, that is your project. And that Bastet, the cat goddess, is also present here. She is here when there is the matching of the individual with the soul that is incarnating. When the mother is getting pregnant, Bastet is there to guide, to support that perfect match between the parents and the child. And this is the same as well, for you have many creations within you, and that this is simply the next one. There are perhaps many books that you could write about, or many messages, yet really asking to connect to the being of light that is your book or your project, and spending a few moments in the silence, receiving an energy handshake, a vibrational handshake, allowing your sensations, or maybe a color or words or divine qualities that start to emerge. So just like in the movie Avatar that you may have seen, where there is the bonding of the individual with their uh, flying horse that they will ride, you are, if you're choosing bonding, and it's always your choice to take the divine invitation or assignment or not, yet you are bonding to the being of light that is the book. So we'll spend a few minutes here in the silence as you are calibrating, as you are meeting, as you're getting to know the being of light that is your book. And you may ask for a message or a title or an image, color, a symbol. Just ask what this book, Being of Light, has to share with you in this now moment. And if it appears to be that nothing is happening, of course, something is always happening, just continue to breathe in your heart, knowing that you're connected to and partnering with Source. Just taking a few more moments here, jotting anything down if you aren't already writing. And as you go to make that first strike on the page or on the canvas or drawing, even placing your energy, if you're not going to write, placing your energy on your hands or your heart. What is that first imprint, that first word, that strike on the blank canvas, the paint color that is there? And knowing that you can continue to deepen this, thanking your book, Being of Light, your Akashic Records guide, knowing that you have had this initial energy handshake or deepening for those of you who have been working with your project for a while. And then, if you're choosing, ask from the level of the Akashic Records any of that fear of visibility or getting it wrong or any of those resistances that you can imagine that you are asking your higher self to pull those records and to absorb any messages or learnings from them, the essential energies of them, and to bring them back into the wholeness, back into the oneness, back to the source from which it came. You may imagine that's written on a canvas or in the child toy of an Etch-a-Sketch, that there's some pattern. And you just tilt the Etch-a-Sketch and it becomes a clear field, or the ink of that fear of visibility or whatever it was is now invisible ink, and it evaporates. And you're left with this clear field, this new beginning, where your non-negotiable is pulling you, uh, buoying you, championing you, carrying you with all the support of Source, of the divine, of all that there is. And while we're here, just put out the call for these synchronicities, these magical moments from the level of the infinite possibilities, the quantum field. You're choosing to move forward with a project that you're placing the request that you're fully resourced in the process. Those perfect individuals, opportunities, financial support, others that have skill sets that you don't, that just all of that is a part of this. Really shifting that vibration of having to do it alone to the new earth energies of co-creation, collaboration, win, 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 joy, abundance. Good. So then either thanking the Akashic records and asking them to close for now, or you can keep basking in these energies if you'd like for a little bit longer. And then just choose one vibration or word that you're choosing to have instead. So if there was this fear of visibility or getting it wrong or having to do it all your own, then you're having a replacement word or vibration that you're opulently nourished, that you're resourced, that you're confident, that you're sharing your message on a larger scale in a way that's absolutely yummy and delightful for you, knowing that everything is bespoke for you. Your life experience is unique to you. You are the key that unlocks your one of a kind life. And so you can be highly visible in the dimensions where you reside, and others who aren't in those dimensions don't even see them, yet not because you're hiding, it's just in a different vibration. Ina nio mian kanti stihi katahakati. So just taking another few moments here, really having that one word or what you're replacing with, maybe even placing your hands on your heart, anchoring this in, embodying this, breathing this in. And then at that perfect time for you, bringing your awareness back and opening your eyes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Emboldened was my word. And I think everyone is feeling emboldened on a collective. What a powerful tool, connecting in that way with the being of our legacy work. So crucial at this time to bring forth the voices of our voice of love. Thank you so much for that. It was powerful. Very, very good.
Yes. And that can be a sequence that one can use to bring the hands of the clock to 12 noon, to have that heart breath from above and below, to connect to both the wisdom and the love, and then to open the Akashic records or to connect to the being of light that is the legacy work, and allowing those sensations. So then it becomes a protocol to have clarity, to access wisdom and love.
This process helped to see that being of the legacy in truly a divine way that many of us have not looked at before. And also, for me personally, I know this might be the way others feel, is that I could see my own judgment and doubt and criticism from the ego mind trying to snuff out the light of this being. And so that was very powerful.
Yes, and as you are bringing that forward, the judgment, the criticism, the inner critic, that can be also, just as Danielle experienced before her first book came out, can be that safety mechanism. So, as you know, we always are inviting you to include back into the wholeness, to not separate from the slower vibration up to the higher vibration, yet to bring it into love, to have it be one drop of food coloring that is added to the ocean of love, and to reassure the system as you are going along. And on a physical plane, uh, putting words on the paper, that experience that you had can be exactly what creates the book that takes 10 years to write. For there's a lot of reasons for that, yet there can be the starting of the download. As we said, download your legacy work. You can have a flow come in, yet if you're typing on the computer and then you're deleting it, and then you're typing on the computer and then you're deleting it, and you're typing on the computer and you're deleting it, then it doesn't come into flow. So sometimes there can be just that play of going beyond, or even writing that. I'm noticing that there is doubt, or a part of me that is wanting to snuff this out, or and then keep writing that. That's a part of the story, and it goes back to what Danielle was sharing as well, is that those light and love workers on the planet that often have a very large mission, and everyone's mission is vast and essential and equal, yet those that have really chosen to come to be a part of this shift into new earth, your slower vibrations can be like an 11 out of 10. And so we honor your courage, we honor your willingness to go forward, to be driven by the larger vision of what you know is true, and to have that be a part of the process. For we often see as well that some may misinterpret the energies, the solar vibrations coming up to the surface as I'm on the wrong path, like, and then stopping on that path. From experience of being with many of you, the more that you are on your path, then, and it isn't always like this, yet the intensity of that fear can be coming up. So it doesn't mean that you're off course. It can actually mean that you are bringing in more light and more love, and the slower vibrations naturally come up to the surface to be included into the wholeness, like a pond that is turning over to clean itself, and all of the muck comes to the top, yet it is a part to allow the energy to stay in motion. And then you have your choice to see it, and yet to keep going, to have it be one sensation. I have the sensation of being afraid that I will be persecuted if my message goes out on a large scale. I feel my body sitting on the chair. I am aware of my heart beating. I'm joyful about my message going out into the world. My toes can feel being inside of socks. I have a fear of being visible or an illusion, lie, or a story. I hear in my head that this isn't safe. I look around me and I can see the wall is brown or the wall is blue. So this also puts any energy that is driving the bus back onto the council, the team, and it has a role, and yet it's not overpowering all else that is going on. This is the same with ascension symptoms, or what we call adaptation sensations. Sometimes we know, this is a question that's coming through on the multidimensional planes. Sometimes we know there can be this confusion of, well, when is it an adaptation sensation that you're evolving and changing, and you have something like a headache, for example, and when is it time to perhaps look deeper into what is that? Is it a change in diet or whatever it is? So the adaptation sensation, when you have the headache, and we are always proponents of you paying attention to whatever your bodies need, that is just one part of your body. You may have the headache, and yet if you tune into your eyelashes are in radiant health, not in a way that you're ignoring what needs to be paid attention to, and yet the headache is one unit of consciousness of the totality of your entire radiant health. And so that can be another exercise when that's coming up, to bring the focus back to other areas.
Thank you so much, Toth, and the beautiful collective from on high. We are feeling empowered and so inspired and ready to roll. Thank you.
Yes. And we are extending our acknowledgement and appreciation to each of you for your contribution to the evolution in consciousness, for it does require all of us and all of you incarnate, each choosing to play your role in the way that is the most aligned for you. All is light and love, and we are all. Hmm. Danielle here, moving more to the forefront is so fun. It's like now there's everyone tuning in, and your legacy being of light that's with you too.
We are feeling our legacy so much closer to our heart now, or in the forefront as you are right now, here in this now moment. Again, it feels so very, very good. I want to just say, Danielle, you are so exquisite in the support that you offer those who are ready. This exercise that we did today in this Now show was really important, and I truly hope that it will be taken. I know it will be taken and acted upon. You are an excellent guide and an excellent teacher, of course, with your team as well. And you are a great resource for those who want to take this even deeper and go forward, bringing this legacy forth. In fact, you've got a great program, the Visionary Heart Activations, that actually help us to bring this forward in that way. I know that those listening really have chosen this lifetime to bring forward New Earth, and you're here to help us do that.
Mm. First, I receive your acknowledgement. Thank you for that. And yeah, this Visionary Heart collection is so on point with what we've been speaking about, for it really is coming into right relationship with the highest vision of our hearts, with that vision that we have for this incarnation, and to be shifting out of doing that vision or sharing that vision from separation consciousness, from that place of duality or fear, and then turning on our unity consciousness divine mission. So the visionary heart activation, I just love. It is so much about coming from that place of equality and equanimity, and that shift from power over and power under, and our revolution in relationships within ourself. And so one of the keys to really partnering with source in life and in creating our legacy work is to do it from a place of equality, and that the beings of light are here to support us, and yet they're not they don't know what's best for us. Like it's not that old paradigm of teacher student, or so the visionary heart really supports that return to equanimity within ourselves as well. So there isn't that battle within, that there really is that equanimity. So it includes this 2-hour activation to really update your mission into unity consciousness. So it's just natural. Like you're inhaling your mission and then your vision, and then you're exhaling out into the world. Like just like the breath cycle has a cycle. So this is especially great if you've had a hesitation or a holding back, or the experience that I talked about of kind of, well, I was doing great work, and yet it also was like in my office and not that many people knew about it. And not that being known or unknown means that we're fulfilling our mission more or less than another. It's really that right size for us. Yet what I find with the Visionary Heart collection is that we're not hesitating anymore to share. There's just, the rose is the rose, so we all have our visions and our missions. And if we're the rose, we're just being that most fully realized, blossoming, beautiful rose. And yeah, so Toth often says that any one of these activations can be gone into for a lifetime. And the Visionary Heart is one that I return to again and again and again and again and again. And also for those of you that do have businesses and you are working with clients, or really in any way, it also just updates your relationships to be coming from that place of equanimity. So it's very much helpful also for those of us that are highly sensitive and empathic, or see suffering in the world, and there's like wanting to kind of that savior energy, to also really honoring that no matter how it looks to us, everyone has their free will and conscious choice, and we're not better or worse than anyone. So it helps with that sense of worthiness, confidence. Like I know that I'm just like, I just love it so much. And if there was one activation that I would recommend wholeheartedly, it's this one, because it does create this revolution in relationships. And it's so much about also this overlap time from being born during separation consciousness, the tail end of it, and now living into unity consciousness, or old earth, new earth, however you want to talk about it. And so that the foundation to me of the old earth is power over, power under, and to have a really primary tool to return that equanimity and to be divine to divine with one another, have that revolution in relationships. And that is so empowering too. Like when you're with your clients from that stance of we're equal, and and we're coming together to partner together, it increases their results. It just shifts the whole thing, because there's no longer like the healer and then the one that needs to be healed. It's really a partnership. So it skyrockets their results and also income and so many things. So yeah, I'm just glowing and raving about my own program here, but I'm super excited about it.
And we're super excited about it too, because it really is a crucial step to really bring forward that legacy, to partner with the divine, to partner with source, to treat ourselves and others equally. And I love that, because that is unity consciousness. And I know that those who are listening to this are specifically here to help develop unity consciousness. So thank you for helping all of us find that voice in this divine to divine way. It really is wonderful. And the platform that you use, I do have to say, it's pretty cool, because there's more than just videos in there. There's exercises and processes for people to utilize. And that's really helpful. Mm-hmm.
Yes, for all multisensory. So there's that the visual of some reading, some written material, there's audio, there's video. So that also touches on our multisensory, multi-dimensional aspect. And it is very much an active co-creation with Toth and the guides, that, you know, they often say they wouldn't or couldn't do it without us. So sometimes I feel like we underestimate how much our role of being incarnated really is helping, and that there is that partnership. So it's also very active. And to me, that's what creates lasting change, is that we're engaged in the process while we're activating the visionary heart activation and thoroughly turning off the separation consciousness and then turning on the unity consciousness. So yeah, I love that too as well, that it really is a partnership
Yeah.
within our own system, because that's where the lasting change comes, with support and with help.
We have more support now than ever. And you teach all of us how to tap into it. The special offer for Danielle is available at bit.ly/now Danielle. Thank you, Danielle Rama Hoffman. You have given us many tools to align in this now moment and truly tap into the multi-dimensional abundance. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.